Hey, thank you very much for joining me. My name is Rose Peter Graham. It's Rose on all sides. Season's greetings to all lovers of beautiful things and, of course, of our Lord Jesus Christ. And I guess we're making the best of the season. Yes, of course. Send out lovely messages. Reach out to people who have not. Embrace them. Say nice things to them. Give them something to eat, warm clothes. Of course, make the world a better place. That is why we're here. If you are stronger, those who are weak, support them. It makes us human. It brings out the human in us. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let us start with saying happy birthday to President Muhammadu Buhari. Did I just say President Muhammadu Buhari? I think I took out the Major General. I'm just being nice today. Ha ha ha. Okay, yeah. So I'll say that. But I said to myself, how will I say happy birthday to President Muhammadu Buhari when practically all the heads of the security and financial institution in Nigeria is headed by northern Muslims? And he made this possible. I mean, he's just a nepotistic ruler. He's concerned about himself and those around him. Of his kingsmen, why would he want to lead Nigeria like this? Why should we be happy with such a person? When he came in 2015, he said to all of us, I belong to nobody, I belong to everybody. But that is one big fat lie, because right now we can see where he truly, truly belongs. And one thing Mr. President must understand is that Nigeria does not belong to a section of that country. It belongs to everybody. We're talking about over 350 ethnic groups in that country called Nigeria. And then you feel it's just Fulani Muslims who should be running affairs. I mean, finally, the nation's newspaper got their acts together and they put out that tweet during the week. They said finance, customs, immigration, FIRS, MPA, that's the Nigerian Port Authority, and the NNPC, APCON, Federal Mortgage Bank are now firmly in the hands of Northerners. The executive, legislature, the judiciary, police, DSS, armed forces, all in the hands of Northerners. How can we run Nigeria like this? And I must say kudos to them. But of course, the Punch newspaper bailed the cats. So they're the one that started, because we know that the media actually is controlled in Nigeria. This is my opinion anyway. Is controlled largely by the West, and most of them have their headquarters in Lagos. And then whoever really they back up tend to win political offices. And then they were all treading carefully, not to say what it's not, so that the security agencies, would not pounce on them. So, but Punch newspaper just felt, after the drama that ensued with the DSS, with Shore, they just said, this is it, we've had it. And they put it out, that this is a regime. It's not a democratic government that President Muhammadu Buhari is running. So they have decided to change the name from making reference, they want to make reference to him, of course, from President Buhari to Major General Buhari, taking his title back to 1983. And then, of course, that is what he has been called in the last 2 weeks. And then the nation followed suit. And when they did, they actually received a lot of backlash on social media. They're like, where are you coming from? Because we knew that you and your masters were supporting this government, even when you saw a whole lot of wrong things that they put out. But now it's not favoring you, and you're coming out with, articles and tweets like this. But I would say, it's never late than never. Or how is that said? It's never too late than never. Whatever, you get the message. But the fact is that they are doing it. Then Premium Times, we hope everybody else will now come out. Then we all start speaking with one voice. We are tired. This must stop. Okay, so enough talking, Rose. So with that, another congratulatory message goes to the man, Boris Johnson, for the landmark winning. That's the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, on Thursday. That's the 12th of December. I hope you voted. I took time when I left the studios. I went there to do some voting, and we must say congratulations to him. And too bad for Jeremy Corbyn, the leader of the Labour Party. I hope they will get their acts back together. And I'm actually also saying this because hopefully we'll be entertaining Boris Johnson in our studios pretty soon. Okay, so what else do I have on the agenda? People like me woke up to the news because I had friends who stayed up till 3 a.m. watching the impeachment proceedings in the House of Reps in the United States. And of course, Donald J. Trump, the 45th president of the United States, was impeached. Okay, and then we're still waiting. I mean, he has to then go to the Senate. But right now, the Speaker, that Nancy Pelosi, is not allowing that to go because he thinks that maybe he'll be acquitted or something. But anyway, we're waiting to see how that drama turns out. But one thing that that's really funny is that President Trump was really not happy about it, in as much as he realizes that he has more support in the Senate that will decide whether he goes or he stays. He was really upset. And how many in the morning, like almost 35 tweets? He just kept on tweeting, because of course he was not settled with that. Then let us move from that to entertainment. I wanted to talk about Mrs. Johnson being pregnant for the 4th time because the internet just went voila. But which he thinks is not news. So, but of course that's it. Mrs. Johnson and her husband, who I think looks like the Fusas. Anyway, that's Nollywood, one of Nollywood's best. Mrs. Johnson, very, very much pregnant. She's very happy. She wants a large family, and we celebrate her and we say congratulations. And then another gist in that realm of entertainment, Nollywood. The actor Angela Okorie, within the week, Stella Damasus, she lives in America now with Daniel Ademokoya, her husband, Nollywood director. She said that she was the first one who put out the post that she was ambushed by armed robbers and she was shot at. She was driving a Mercedes, SUV, and then they shot at her, but they couldn't get the bullet. She escaped. She survived. The bullets did not get into her head because of the particular kind of wig she was wearing. That was really, for me, I'm like, what sort of wig would that be? What kind of cap would it be? Papila Kamil really need to consider getting that kind of cap that will stop, pallets of bullets from getting into your head. So anyway, she said that, and then she also came up with a story. Oh, thank God I wasn't, thank God I survived, blah, blah, blah. But then another story then hits the media that she actually cooked up that story. Something else must have happened. And there's one journalist in Nigeria who is actually fearless that you must know. I think he writes more on Facebook, not Instagram or Twitter. So he came up with a different story about what would have happened to this actress. Should I tell you, or maybe you go and check his wall on Facebook? That's Precious Easy. He comes up with the most unusual stories. Like we're talking about table shakers on the internet. He is one of them. So he said maybe the madam of the Oga must have attacked her with some thugs, and she didn't know the story to put out. Yes, of course, that's the beautiful actress Angela Okorie, who talk about the palace of bullets. So that's one of the wigs. That's the magical wig that stops bullets from hitting her head. So which is really, really cool. So, that's the gist for that. Let's not spend too much time on them, whatever. When I started, I talked about Christmas, giving, and reaching out. Do you know that over 13 million children in Nigeria are out of school? Why is that? And guess what? Yearly, the educational budget comes out and it's still under under 100 billion naira. It just makes you wonder. There's so much money being invested in the National Assembly or any frivolities that the federal government consider, would make them really comfortable. But education and health seems to be suffering. There is a lady I would love for you to meet. She is not a newcomer. She is one of the community leaders in the United Kingdom, and she's doing very well back home. She's saving the children. She's making huge contribution into turning the futures of our children around, making it bright. Every Nigerian child or every child anywhere around the world wake up in the morning with a dream. How are we helping them to achieve, to actualize their dreams? I'd like to welcome Ibironke Adeagbo. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
She is a chartered accountant, the former INAC chairman, United Kingdom, and a former Kanuk treasurer. Kanuk is Central Association of Nigerians in the UK.
That's correct.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you very much for joining me.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
And I must say that's some beautiful thing that you're doing back in Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
Well, I want you to first of all tell me about, your background and why you formed this foundation. It's called what? The IA Foundation?
Foundation, yeah.
What is it about?
Which is IA stands for my initial. My full name is Ibironke. Okay. So Ibironke Adeagbo Foundation. Okay. So basically, this goes far back into my young age. When I was growing up within a family where I had all brothers. I'm an only daughter.
Oh, okay.
And when I wanted to go to university, and I said to my father, I wanted to study accountancy.
Yes.
And my father said, there's no way you're studying accountancy because women haven't got the brain for accountancy, so you cannot do accountancy. And I said to him, I actually want to study accountancy. And lo and behold, I passed my JAM in flying colors, got into uni, got my degree. And then, obviously, as an accountant, you have to have the professional qualification. Mm-hmm. So guess what? I didn't just pass one professional exams. I chose to pass 3 professional exams, basically, just to demonstrate to my father that what a man can do, a woman can do.
Better. Yeah. Okay. And now for this foundation, after you're doing so much in the community back here, the foundation back home in Nigeria, what's the move, what's this drive, and what inspires you?
Okay. Very good question. Obviously, I feel as if I've got to a stage in my life where I've actualized my my ambition, basically, as a qualified accountant. I've got most of the qualifications I need and everything. And then when I go back home, I see kids on the streets when they're meant to be in school.
Yes.
I mean, some of them are on the streets hawking, some of them are house helps, and I'm thinking, these kids ought to be in school. What are we doing about it? And then I went onto the internet, Googled children out of school in Nigeria. And I saw a whopping 13.2 million. I thought, no, this can't be right. Somebody needs to be doing something about this.
Yes.
We need to have a strategy of getting the kids off the street and into the classroom, because these are our future. If you have 13.2 million kids out of school, these are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. So that means you're breeding a generation of illiterates who are going to rule Nigeria. So if we want to solve our problem in Nigeria, we should start by giving every child good education. So that's where the initiative came from.
That's good. So now, when you tell me, what's your unique approach into actualizing this?
Right, basically, we've got 4 objectives. Our first objective is actually to help the girl child get good education. Second one is to help children from deprived background, disadvantaged background, get good education. And also kids with learning disability, to make sure they have good education. And also to reward excellence in education. So when those who are doing very well in their education, to sort of reward them. So those are 4 objectives of the foundation. So basically, the things we are doing to be able to achieve these objectives is that, I mean, one of the things we've done is we've visited Olabisi Onabanjo University, and I declare an interest there because I'm an alumni. But there's a saying, charity begins from home. So I thought it would be nice to start from the university that gave me the capacity I have to be able to do this, basically. So I think on the 30th of May, IA Foundation visited the university, met with the executive, with the vice chancellor and the registrar, and basically what we did is we set up an endowment for the best accountancy students. So whenever there's a graduation and there's a best accountancy student, that student gets an award of money. So basically it's a carrot we're dangling to make sure those accountancy students strive to achieve and do well, because I know if they do well, they will be very good employees in the marketplace. So it's essentially improving the quality of the accountants which are coming out of Olabisi Onabanjo University, basically. So, and also to reward excellence. So if you're doing well, someone is saying well done and giving you a pat on the back for doing that.
So you're catching them up there and then...
Yeah, absolutely.
Then, you know, when they say this much children are out of school, between what age group?
Yeah, basically, in the UK, child is defined as up to 18.
Yes.
So that's the same yardstick we're using in Nigeria. Up to 18 is still deemed as a child. So that's the cap. We don't deal with people that are over 18. We
I want you to tell me like a typical experience now in Nigeria, like you see children, like we could say 5, 6, 7. Have you seen someone like who's in like 17 and has never gone to school?
There are lots of them. I mean, if you go to some houses in Nigeria, you've got them as house help. They've been there for forever, working with their masters, and they've never been to a classroom. So I'm thinking us as employers of these children, we should take responsibility for actually educating them. So if you want them to work for you, you should be thinking that this child needs education. So you must take responsibility for their education. So what we're doing is we want to work with the National Assembly to actually do a bill, to have a bill to make sure anyone that employs anyone that is under 18 should take responsibility for their education.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, in January we're going to Nigeria again, and we call it Off the Street and Into the Classroom initiative, whereby if we see any child under 18 under the street, either walking or doing things, we're going to go around to that child and say, why aren't you in school? We want to understand why you're not in school. Take us to your parents for us to understand why you're not in school.
That is huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. When is this going to start? Are you starting?
Next month. We're going to Nigeria next month to start doing that.
You're starting from Lagos?
Yeah, we're starting from Lagos, yeah.
There are quite a number of children hawking.
Absolutely. We need to start from somewhere.
For their families.
But we can't not do anything about it. We need to start from somewhere.
Definitely.
Yeah, and all we need is we need the willpower of the government of the day to support us and to be being able to do this.
Yeah, and also there are a lot of children who are leaving schools with, without vital basic skills. Some of them just go to school and they don't have books. There are pictures that came out when Nigeria celebrated 59 this year. There were a lot of pictures that rented the internet of students sitting on the floor, no books, no tables, no chairs. Something needs to be done about this set of children. They are in school, but they're not getting the right materials to work with.
Absolutely, and it goes without saying that these sort of things keep me awake at night. I mean, I was just listening to the budget which was approved this week.
Yes.
And as you just rightly mentioned, 37 billion was allocated to renovating.
Yes, a building that was built for 7 billion.
Absolutely.
With 7 billion.
And guess what? How much was allocated to education? 47 billion.
Did I actually say under 100 billion?
Exactly.
But that is way less.
Absolutely. So it shows you what their priorities are. And that makes me cringe. That where is your priority? These are the future. The money they have 7 billion they want to use to renovate the House of Assembly can build 10 classrooms, can equip these classrooms for these kids so that they have decent education.
Not 10 classrooms, 37 billion.
I mean 10,000 classrooms is what I mean.
10,000
classrooms, absolutely. Yes. But someone is not thinking along those lines. These are our future. Because it's about social mobility. If you don't educate these kids, they will come back to bite us in the backside. We are basically sitting on a gunpowder here. So someone needs to take that initiative to start making sure this next generation of Nigerians are educated.
But bother you, like really, most of those politicians have their children, even Mr. President, all of his kids are schooling abroad. So maybe that is why they really don't care what they allocate to education.
And that's why people like me and you need to do something about it. Because if our leaders are not bothered because their kids are not there, then people like you and me need to do something about it. Maybe that will send a signal to the government of the day that we need to prioritize this. It's important. When Tony Blair became the Prime Minister in the UK, his mantra was education, education, education. Education is important. You ignore it at your own peril.
Yeah. There are a lot of odds stacked against you. There's no two ways about it. Like, what inspires you and what makes you keep fighting on? Because you need money. sometimes you also do need protection. You know, I mean, a lot of things when you get back home and wanting to get these children, because there are just a number of people who are benefiting from our children not going to school. Because at the end of the day, the politicians, the children become thugs for them to fight their opponents. So all this are odds that are working against you. So what makes you keep going on, and how do you surmount them?
Yeah, very good one. Basically, I'm actually very grateful, and I want to give a shout out to members of the public that have been donating to this foundation to enable us do our work. And also on the 8th of February, we're having a black tie dinner, which is also a fundraising dinner, to raise more funds to enable us carry on with this good work in Nigeria. So I'd like to invite everyone to please try and attend that black tie dinner to make sure we can raise funds to educate these children.
Black tie dinner. That's nice. That's a good one.
So it's all about fundraising. I mean, a little here, a little there, you know, we get the money, we go to Nigeria and start getting these kids off the streets and into the classroom.
That's true. Because have you had like a one-on-one with a child? They express themselves, tell you what they want. Like basically, because I saw pictures of you, you know, like way in the north. In Nasarawa State.
That's correct, yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness, she's doing all of this. You know, talk to us about your experience.
Yeah, basically, we partnered with Kanok because all these IDP camps, these kids in the IDP camps, they're not going to school.
No.
Right? We can't just afford to look away.
Yes.
So we had to visit the IDP camp in Nasarawa State.
Yeah.
We went to see the kids. We gave them gifts. We gave them books. You know, because if they can't go to school, at least we can give them books which they can read whilst they're in the IDP camp. At least get some form of education, basically. We spend some time teaching them stuff, you know, trying to make them understand some things, how to read, how to pronounce things. So we thought that will go a long way. And what we're also doing is to encourage the government of the day to have some sort of mini school within those IDP camps. And I'm hoping the government of the day will actually rise up to the challenge.
Okay, like with most things you're doing, it's not about getting the child into school. But then sometimes you have to see them through with the necessary materials required.
Absolutely. And that's why I said one of the objectives of the foundation is to give out bursary to disadvantaged children so that that will see them through their education till they get to university. One of the things we're doing is for children that want to go to university, we try and buy the JAM form for them because, interestingly, some parents, obviously, because of poverty, they can't buy the JAM form for their kids. These kids are brilliant. But when it comes to buying JAM form, the parents cannot afford to buy the JAM form. So if you can't take the form, if you can't buy JAM form, you can't do the JAM exam. So therefore, you can't go to university. So what we're doing is buying JAM form for students so that they can take the JAM exam and hopefully end up in university.
Wow. That's impressive.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the objective of the foundation.
That is impressive.
It will be impressive to see every Nigerian child being educated. Nigerians are brilliant people.
They are.
So we can't afford to leave all this generation of kids behind without giving them good generation. You will find out that most of these kids, their parents themselves are illiterate. And when there's illiteracy, that leads to poverty. So if you're breeding the next generation of illiterates, that's another cycle of poverty which is developing. So when are we going to get out of this poverty cycle? So I saw education as a silver bullet to solve this problem. We need to change the narrative. We need to change it.
We definitely
And somebody needs to start doing that.
Yeah. Kudos. I would like to know, because when I was sending out the promo for the program, I included people, our viewers should watch, because you would tell them how they can be part of this, how they can make contribution. You know, because people want to be part of something good. They want to affect lives positively, especially the lives of our young ones.
Sure, absolutely. As I said, we're having a black tie dinner.
Beyond the black tie dinner,
yeah.
I want to know, beyond the black tie dinner, I want to be part of this. How can I, reach you and make this contribution?
Right. Before I go to that, I just want to give a shout out to the committee members of the Black Tie. They're doing a fantastic job. It's a 10-man committee, and I want to say, well done, guys. I really appreciate all your hard work. They're doing fantastically well. Basically, you can always donate.
You want to say that again? That's your camera, so you talk to them.
Yeah. Hello, guys. Well done, and I appreciate everything you've been doing to make the day a success. We really appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
That's
it. Basically, we have a website.
Yes.
It's www.ia-foundation.org. You can always go to the foundation to see what we're doing, and you can always donate via the website. Our account details are there, so you can always set up a standing order, you know, for money to get into our account. And we will always send a thank you letter to acknowledge your donation, basically. So please, please, please keep that money coming in, so we can go and do this wonderful stuff in Nigeria.
That's good. Thank you very much for speaking with me.
You're welcome.
Ibironke Adiagu.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, that's lovely. Okay, viewers, I have been speaking with Ibironke Adiagu, sorry. I've got Razor at the background doing this thing. She's a chartered accountant. She's a former chairperson of ICANN in the United Kingdom, the former Kanuk treasurer, Kanuk is Central Association of Nigerians in the UK, and she's the CEO, the founder of IA Foundation, which is basically about getting children off the streets in Nigeria and getting them into school. It's beautiful. I applaud you. Thank you very much for choosing to come on our program. And I believe that that program on the 8th would be fantastic.
Please make sure you're there on the 8th of February.
The year is like gone already, and there's like so much event. I've started seeing posters for next year. I'm like, you people, you just wait now. Posters already. It's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay, viewers, we're going to go for the break, and when we come back, Nollywood actress would be joining us. You want to know who? Stay tuned.